nearby.
Increased aggression and
Move everybody out of here now. There's a gas leak. Hey,
there seems to be some commotion coming from
get the hell out of here, bro!
What was that?
What makes life worth living? The Last of Us tries to answer that question by giving us a vision of a world that makes no room for people to really live their lives anymore. In this post-pandemic, military-ruled society, the most anyone can hope for is merely to survive. And as many characters in the game know, in a world where the survival of anyone from one day to the next is uncertain, attachments, connections, love, these things can become liabilities. These things can destroy you. Naughty Dog's acclaimed action game has made its way to the PlayStation 4 as The Last of Us Remastered. And if you've played the game on the PlayStation 3, you'll probably notice that it runs at a higher frame rate and that the lighting is richer and moodier in this release. In side-by-side comparisons, it also becomes apparent that the textures are sharper and the draw distance has been increased. But the reality is that the game already looked so good on the PlayStation 3 that the visual enhancements can't do all that much to improve your experience. The Last of Us Remastered is still The Last of Us, and that is no bad thing. It's one of the best adventures of the last console generation, and it's fully deserving of the special edition treatment it gets here. Perhaps nobody knows the dangers of loving others in this uncertain world better than Joel, the protagonist of The Last of Us. A hard, bitter man, Joel isn't likable, but he is at least understandable, in large part because the dialogue in The Last of Us is so human and believable.
What are we doing here? This is not us.
What do you know about us? About me?
I know that you are smarter than this.
Really? Guess what? We're shitty people, Joel. It's been that way for a long time.
No, we are survivors.
This is our chance.
It is over, Tess!
And although that humanity comes through in all of the game's major characters, it's the teenager, Ellie, who is the game's emotional heart. In contrast to Joel's cynicism, Ellie is still capable of wide-eyed wonder. While Joel seems dead inside, Ellie is very much alive, and over the course of the game, neither Joel nor you can avoid growing attached to her. The story is set in a world where every human life is in constant danger, and the harrowing combat of the game supports this feeling. Whether you're fighting ordinary humans or infected ones, you're encouraged to rely on stealth, distracting enemies, and sneaking up on them to save your precious supplies. The Last of Us is not a game in which you can boldly charge at your enemies with guns blazing. Instead, you rummage through every abandoned house, store, and workplace, looking for things you can use to craft weapons and health kits. Because every enemy poses a serious threat, there's a real fear of being spotted or of an enemy coming at you from behind, so you try to stay aware of your surroundings. One type of infected, the clickers, see by using echolocation, and the sound of their clicking is unsettling enough to make your skin crawl. As in the PlayStation 3 version, the tension of combat is sometimes undermined by your allies behaving erratically, doing things that would get you spotted and killed. On the other hand, there are moments in which your companion's behavior creates the feeling that you're not alone on this journey, such as when Ellie comes to your rescue by stabbing your assailant in the back. The Last of Us Remastered includes the original game's multiplayer mode, along with all of the map packs that were released as DLC. The multiplayer successfully captures the unnerving feeling of the single-player combat, and wraps it up in an engaging metagame about trying to sustain a camp full of survivors by gathering supplies and completing specific tasks during missions. You can give the mode an extra emotional punch by linking it to your personal Facebook account, enabling you to see updates about your real-life friends dying as your camp flounders. And then there's Left Behind, the extraordinary DLC chapter for The Last of Us, unlocked here from the beginning. While the main game's narrative concerns with the importance of interpersonal connections and the gameplay's focus on combat and violence are somewhat at odds with each other, Left Behind takes the established mechanics of The Last of Us and uses them to support its story of the bond between Ellie and her friend Riley. Playing as Ellie, you and Riley toss bricks at car windows, hunt each other with water pistols, and do other things together. And all the while, the characters really talk to each other, laugh with each other, get angry with each other, and do other things that real people do. Left Behind has real character development and real emotional payoff. The Last of Us is a great action game that you should play if you haven't already. And if you have played it before, the improvements here aren't so dramatic as to make the game feel like a new experience, but it is definitely one worth revisiting. In the world of The Last of Us, as in our world, love might destroy you, but it's also one of the only things worth really fighting for.